took the 4th of July off at 187 Customs, and I decided I was going to spend the day in the shop, maybe working on ShopTruck. But first, I still had a couple of errands that I needed to run, so I decided to dig out the S10. Had a Pro Charger that I needed to get to UPS so that I could send it back to them for some service. So I loaded that big F4X up in the back of the little S10 and hit the road. Since the roads were pretty empty this day, and I just so happened to have a draggy on me, I decided to see what the S10 would actually do.
I mean, heck, when did I cut it off here? Quarter mile. When did I let off? So 1367. I let out before the quarter mile. Huh. I mean, it's not a terrible baseline. We're looking at 1367 at 91.51. I might do another one here real quick just to see. Not bad. Ran it out a little further. I still think I cut it off before the quarter mile. 60 foot's 2.3 because I'm kind of rolling into it and then still spinning. Like, this truck makes a little bit of power. I don't know if it's the as advertised 400. I don't know. But 233 60 foot, 894 to the 8th mile at 82 miles an hour. And a 1370 at 105. So it makes a little bit of horsepower. To get that 60 foot down, and I mean, if this thing would go 1.8 to the 60 foot, it'd go 12s. So I don't think that's asking too much. I got some stuff. I got some stuff for that. So first goal before I swap at the E85, I think. Let's go 1280s. I think 1280s is a good starting point.
Well, now that I got that out of my system, it was time to finish heading into town. I guess I should have realized that the UPS store would be closed on a holiday. So, decided to stop by on Q and fill up with their finest 91 octane before I headed back to the shop. My plan was get back here, work on ShopTruck. And I'm still gonna. But not before I clean this place up. Man, it happens quick. So I don't get a lot of time to work out here. It's July 4th, obviously. I'm not doing anything at 187 Customs, so I'm home today. Every intention to spending most of the day working on ShopTruck. But first, man, I got to straighten it up a little bit. I mean, it's just kind of gotten out of hand. Usually when I come out here, all I can do is work. You know, I've been at real work all day, and I come home and all I want to do is get stuff done here. But then you get packages building up. You got empty boxes over there. You got the little fab section is just kind of a wreck. So stuff's just kind of strewn about. So I'm going to fix that before I get to work on get to work on old ShopTruck here, but you know the drill. And if you don't, if you haven't already, go ahead and click that subscribe button for me. Share the channel, drop a like, comment down below what you think I should be doing here on this channel. What do you want to see with ShopTruck? What do you want to see with the S10? Just tell me what you want to see, period. I'll do my best to get it. So click subscribe, like the video, drop a comment, and I'm going to get this place cleaned up, and then we'll get to work on ShopTruck. Cleaning the shop actually took a lot longer than I had anticipated, and by the time I got done, it was just time to go to bed that day. And then the next day, I got stuck at Speedco for about 6 hours waiting on them to change 2 tires on Big Pete, so I didn't get any time to work on the truck then either. Sunday, we decided that we needed to get the Scout over to 187 Custom so that we could do a couple little projects on it that we've been needing to do. However, on my way over there, some bad stuff happened. You can see some pictures here. We'll go over more of that in detail on the 187 Customs YouTube channel here very, very shortly. Then, once I got home, it was time to mow the yard again. Then it was time for dinner. And then it was time to get busy on ShopTruck. Oh man. Y'all ever have one of those days where you rush around and rush around and rush around and trying to get as much done as you can, and at the end of the day, everything that you got done, it just wasn't worth doing because you rushed around and it wasn't to the best of your ability. That's kind of where I'm at today. So, trying to get ready to leave for Canada in the morning. Wanted to make this video before I hit the road so I could edit it while I was on the road, get it out to you guys. Man, I'm struggling here. So, I don't want to cry too much. My little 6-hour stay over at Speedco yesterday really screwed me out of a lot of free time that I needed to get ready to be able to leave for 2 weeks. So, today was kind of spent rushing around and getting everything taken care of that I needed to take care of before I hit the road. But long story short, this will be the second time I'm filming this video. I completed the video last time, went to review it, and there was no sound. So that's a tough one, folks. But anyways, made it back here into the shop. Finally had to do got all my adulting done, and I can get back here in the shop and do a little bit of show and tell on ShopTruck here. So, it's not, the shop looks better. It was worth taking the time to clean it. I wouldn't necessarily call it squeaky clean or anything like that, but, let's go with organized chaos at least. It does look better. Got stuff a little arranged. My box is always a little dirty on top. Don't mind that, but everything's nice and neater. More neat. Whatever. I did get my Viper cart all put together. This thing's pretty sweet. It's going to be my dedicated cleaning supply table roll around cart deal. So I need to get me a power washer now so I can wash some things and maybe some more Jack's Wax products. But right now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you the rest of ShopTruck that I have done in the last 18 months. So I don't think the truck's quite high enough yet. Let me raise this old bin pack up here real quick. We'll get under there and take a look at everything. So, crank this light up here. A lot of you guys, last video was about the front suspension. A bunch of people wanted to know about the front suspension. Well, now a bunch of people are wanting to know about the rear suspension. It's nothing special. It's not 4-link. It's not ladder bar. It's still leaf spring. It's still in factory locations. I've just put some nicer parts on it. So let's start with this bad boy right here. Quick performance rear end. I've pretty much always had a quick performance rear end in this truck since I've had it. My old one was just a regular stamped housing, and it worked great. It would probably work great for the life of this truck. However, I wanted one of their profab housings. I think they're cool looking. They're a little bit sturdier, and mainly I just wanted it. So hollered at Quick Performance, had them build this thing out for me with the back brace on it, and then I also narrowed it 2 7/8 inches per side. Why did I do that? Because I wanted some dish on my rear wheels this time. Look at that. God dang, look how dirty they are though. Now the rest of the truck's dirty. I need to give this thing a good cleaning. It needs a good cleaning. So anyways, so 2 7/8 per side, it's narrowed. This is a 15 by 10 wheel. It's got a 4-inch backspace, and I did swap the 5 lug, so it's 5 on 4 3/4 bolt pattern. So I kept my, let me turn this power off. I kept my TBM brakes. All I did was get a different rotor hat for the 5 lug bolt pattern instead of the 6. So it's still my same old rotors, same old calipers, all that stuff works great. Mentioned, speaking about brakes, I mentioned that I did swap to a manual brake setup, so there's none of the factory brake lines on this truck anymore. There hasn't been in forever, so I got rid of all that. I build my brake lines out of copper nickel alloy, mainly because it bends super easy, and it's really easy to make brake lines. I don't know, actually I do know that it's not the absolute correct way. It's the way I do it. I put a ton of miles on this, and it works fine. So all my fittings are from Nitrous Express. This little T-fitting here I think is actually from eBay. I'm sure Earl's or somebody makes that fitting. I got mine from, actually it's probably Amazon, to be totally honest with you. So that's kind of the braking. My shocks, they are not in factory location, I guess. I lied in the beginning saying that everything was, but everyone relocates their shocks on these trucks. So from the factory, one of them goes forward, one of them goes backwards. So what everyone does is they'll relocate them both to the back like a real race car, and that's what I did. So golly, this bar's been in here for honestly pretty much as long as I've had the truck also. It's just a piece of, I don't know, 1 5/8, I'm guessing 1.5 inches, 1 5/8 bar. We welded a plate in here, welded a plate in here, put the bar in, and then these shock brackets I'm pretty sure I got from Quick Performance at some point. And then stood my QA1 Mod Shocks up as straight as I could. In my last video on the front suspension, I mentioned that I had shock sensors on all 4 corners, and I do. Low Dollar Motorsports, all 4 corners, shock travel sensors. I don't know. So working on the Novas and looking at data like I do, I've gotten spoiled at all the data that's on that car, and honestly, I've tried to make my truck exactly like that. Every sensor that the Nova has, other than ride height, my truck has now as well. And do I need it? Probably not. Do I have it? 100%. Will it help me in the long run? Probably so. I would like to think that it will, just because I'm going to analyze the data as I get a chance and try to improve. And it's better than having to rely on a video, because not everyone's able to video for you all the time. The shock sensor will tell the tale of what's going on and what I can change to make a difference. So I've got them. Better to have it and not need it, right? So, as the old saying goes. Let's see, what else here? I just welded this in because to stable up the shock brackets that I welded on here. So these brackets come from CJRC, Cameron Johnson Race Cars down in Florida. Had to do a little bit of trimming up to make them fit the back brace, but got them all welded on there, and they all look good. I like the billet bracket here for the shock mount. Let's see, what else can I point out to y'all? The leaf springs, they're not factory leaf springs. That is a split mono leaf from Bogart Racing, the people who make the Caltracs. They make them specifically for these trucks. Actually, they make them for like 99 to 2018 or whatever. Like they make them for all the GM trucks, not just this truck. But I've had these on here for a long time as well. It was one of the first things I did actually for suspension modification whenever I started working on this truck. Let's see. So the axle is flipped. From the factory, the leaf springs actually sit on top of the housing there. So when you flip them, you put it underneath, just like like an S10, or I think even the old half-ton trucks were like that. For whatever reason, they started putting them on top. But anyways, flipped this axle, so that dropped it like 4 or 5 inches in the back. Do still have factory front hangers. There's a company, I believe it's 417 Motorsports. Don't get me lying to you there, but I think it's 417 Motorsports. They actually make adjustable hangers where you can raise and lower the front leaf spring eyelet to help with instant center, basically making the car or truck leaf better, work better, etc., etc. Let's see what else we got going on here. Okay, my traction bars. So I had Caltrex on this thing forever. They work great. Never had any issues with them. The only issue I can try to think that I had was I couldn't really get enough bar angle in it because of how low my truck is. So this new stuff right here is made by Merrilat Racing. He makes, so don't look at the bar here. He makes this part, you know, this, and this, and, you know, and then this. So weld this onto the housing. And then actually when I welded these on, I put like 5 degrees worth of pinion angle in it. That just kind of seems to be the thing to do for leaf spring cars. So that's what I did. That's what I had the old setup set as, except to get that angle I had to put some shims in here. But since I had to weld all this stuff on, I was able to set the pinion angle exactly where I wanted it from the get. So anyways, so this is very nice stuff, lots of adjustability. I don't necessarily think that I'm going to need all of that adjustability, but if I do, it's there and I can utilize it. The bar, it didn't come with the bar, and my Caltrack bars I sold with my Caltrack, so I couldn't use them. So what I did here was I called up Cameron Johnson, and this is basically a build your own 4-link kit. And so they send me the tube, and I did a bunch of measuring. They sent me the tube. They sent me some tube nuts or tube ends, whatever you want to call them. And then we had some Heims left over from a Nova rebuild at some point that I used in here. Did some measuring, cutting, welding, and now this is my traction bar to go along with my Merrilat Racing brackets. With a 370 gear. I've had this in here for quite a while. I think it was even in here when the truck was still pro-charged. So that's what I got here. So Strange Ultra Center. It has a 8 magnet collar on it and seems to work great. I've got quite a few miles on this thing. Quick Performance built this thing, and they did a great job because this one's probably only got 3,000 miles on it. But my old one that I had in here before had a 430 gear. There's a Pro gear that I put 8,500 miles on, and they couldn't believe it. So I can attribute that to Quick Performance good building and Maxima with their good gear oil. So let's see, what else do we got going on back here? Oh yeah, my anti-roll bar. So the anti-roll bar is not finished. That's really the last big thing I have left on the truck is to finish the anti-roll bar. But to finish that, I'm gonna have to get the guys over here to help me pull the bed off so I can do all the welding and everything that needs to be done, because I am not coordinated enough to get my TIG torch up in there and fill a rod and work the pedal and all that stuff. So get the bed off. I'll finish this up. That comes from Tin Soldiers. I think it's basically their basic anti-roll bar kit. I did spring for the billet arms instead of the weld together steel ones that they send. I don't know that I needed to, but I did because, I don't know, it's billet, and why wouldn't you want billet? So let's see, what else is back here that y'all need to know about? Oh, well, let's go over the fuel system. So if you'll notice, there's no more factory gas tank. I did away with that this go around, and I did a 15-gallon aluminum fuel cell in the bed. I'm not necessarily happy about that situation, but you know, it is what it is. So this bad boy right here, this is an Aeromotive 10 gallon per minute brushless variable speed fuel pump. This is the big boy. Don't quote me on this. I think this thing's good for like 2,000 boosted horsepower on the 85. That's pretty insane from an electric pump. But to feed this thing, look at that power wire. That's a 6-gauge wire. That's what Aeromotive calls for. So this thing is juice hungry. At full tilt boogie, this thing will pull 60 amps. So it's a bad boy, but you got to feed it. So when I got the fuel cell in, they recommend a -16 hose to feed the pump. So I had to cut the fitting off, weld a -16 fitting on, make my -16 hose, comes in here to the pump. Out of the pump, we have a -12 that goes up here to my big FluidWorks 10 micron fuel filter. And then we're going to exit that fuel filter. I can't move these jacks, they're heavy. So out of the fuel filter is another -12, and it goes up to the front of the fuel rail. Fuel rail crosses over in the back from the other fuel rail, or to the other fuel rail, and then the fuel pressure regulators on the front of the other fuel rail. Out of it comes this other -12 line, comes back here, and then it actually goes up to the front of the, or I'm sorry, the back of the rear, the rear of the fuel cell, and ejects the fuel to the front of the fuel cell. I'll explain that a little later on. Kind of confusing. I probably overcomplicated it, overanalyzed it, but that is what I do. So, let's see, what else? Oh yeah, dynamic driveline drive shaft in literally every vehicle that we got, besides the Scout, in which I broke a drive shaft earlier. It did not have dynamic driveline, and I shattered the CV joint or whatever was on that deal. More on that on the 187 Custom channel, because damn. Anyways, I had to put that thing in 4-wheel drive to finish getting it over to Sean's shop. But anyways, more on that later on the 187 Customs channel. Dynamic driveline, carbon fiber. Up here to this Billy Badass Turbo 400. This isn't just any Turbo 400. See that name right there? Rossler. This is a transmission out of the Nova when it was twin turbo. Whenever we swapped over to the Hemi Pro Charger stuff, the first Hemi combo that we bought came with a Mart Mickey transmission, because that's just what Proline uses. So it was just easier for us to follow the recipe. And so, to make a long story short, we had a Rossler sitting left over, not being used. Dalton needed a better 4L80 in his Falcon. I was ready to swap to Turbo 400, so I gave Dalton my Rossler 4L80, and Sean let me borrow this badass Rossler Turbo 400. So this thing will handle way more power than I will ever make with this truck, and I am very appreciative of it. This red thing right here, my transmission crossmember. These are made by one of my best friends in the entire world, Tyler Scruggs, aka DTR Fab. If you have one of these trucks and you want to swap something in besides your 4L60, whether it be a 4L80, 6L80, Turbo 400, Turbo 350, Power Glide, or if you just want a nice lightweight crossmember for your factory 4L60, he makes these. They're amazing. Super lightweight, made right here in Oklahoma in the good old US of A. He's made thousands of these. So this truck right here, this very truck, had the very first one that he ever made back in like 2012 or 13. It was his prototype. He built it, took it over to Sean's whenever this was still Sean's truck, whenever we were 4L80 swapping it. And that crossmember was in this truck until 2023 when I pulled it out to put this Turbo 400 in. So 10 years of service. I've literally broken everything from the bumper to the roll pin on this truck, and that crossmember, it was still good to go. So I gave it back to him. He's got it hanging up on his wall because it was the first one he ever built, and you know, it's got a little sentimental value. So anyways, man, there's just so much going on this Rossler. So external dump, it's also got an internal dump. I've got all the sensors on it that we've got on all of our other race cars, so I can monitor converter pressure, I can monitor transmission pressure, transmission temperature, all that stuff. So do I need it again? Probably not. Do I have it? 100% I do. Well, that was going to be all I was going to show y'all, but I'm tired of the show and tell stuff, and I'm going to bet that you guys are too. So I'm going to go ahead and finish out here and show you what I got going on inside the truck as well. Again, I wish I had the video of me welding all this stuff together, because I did. I welded all those brackets on that rear end. I mean, there's nothing on this truck that I haven't done this go around. I'm somewhat proud of that. However, the first time I launched this deal and it goes the 120/60 foot that I'm looking for, or tries to go the 120/60 foot that I'm looking for, and it rips all of this stuff off, we can all have a good laugh at my expense. And then I'll get Monkey over here to fix it right. But it was a lot of fun. Some of these welds were really good. I went ahead and painted over them anyways, just because I wanted this all to look really good under here. I hope you guys weren't expecting to find a show truck under here, because it's not. I drive this truck a lot, even still with the Turbo 400 in it. When it had the 480 in it, it wasn't nothing for me to put 200-300 miles a day on this thing sometimes. So, you know, it's a driver, or it was anyways. I'll eventually clean all this up and it'll be nice and neat under here, and it won't be all oily and stuff, but that's what you get right now. Honestly, it wasn't in that great a shape whenever Sean first got it. He found it in a field and did a bunch of work to make this thing as nice as it is to begin with. Like, it either had a really crappy bed on it, or it didn't have a bed on it at all, and he found this bed and put this bed on, and then, you know, Slick Rick painted it way back in the day. But, you know, I can't try to BS y'all, though, and say that most of that oil under there isn't from me, because I've had this thing for a long time now, so it's definitely from me. But I'll clean it. I really haven't had time yet. You know, as you guys know, we're on the road a lot. I don't get a ton of time to work on this thing, but anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get this thing out of the air, and we'll show you what we got going on inside. All right, let's take a look and see how I have made this thing not look so factory on the inside. Oh yeah, I haven't. That's right. So I did get rid of the factory seats. I had seats out of a Silverado SS in this thing, so they were power leather, and I had a full center console. So I took all that stuff out, and they were like 110, 120 pounds, and I replaced it with knockoff Kirky seats from Summit with the tweed covers, and those covers are actually very comfortable. I was surprised. I didn't realize how much. I drove this thing around for quite a while with just a seat, and then I put that cover on just recently, and man, that thing's nice. So swapped in these new seats. Atomic Fab, a guy named Atomic Fab. He's a guy who's been around the Chevy truck stuff probably as long as me, if not longer. He makes these brackets along with a lot of other cool stuff for these trucks. Like, this thing literally bolts in a factory location. Like, it uses the factory bolts for the factory seats. So, you're noticing the roll cage. I can feel you guys noticing it. It had to happen. So I took the factory seats out. Well, the seat belts are in the seats of these trucks, so I didn't have any seat belts in here anymore. So my plan was to just kind of put a harness bar in here. Well, I figured if I'm going to do that, I may as well at least put a hoop and some door bars in to make this thing somewhat safe. Oh, there's that Phantom Industries sticker there. I wasn't quite ready for the bars out the back just yet. I know the truck probably needs it. I have an idea how fast the truck will be capable of running, and truthfully, you know, it needs more cage. I'm just not ready for it. So this is what I got. I took this thing to Don Dial Race Cars. I've been going to that shop. I've been going to that shop with Sean for 10, 12, 13 years now, and I've always wanted to take something of my own in there, and I finally got the opportunity to this winter. So had Don and Dusty put this, you know, it's a little 6-point cage in here, main hoop, door bars, some kickers, and try to make this thing just a little bit safe. So they did a great job. It fits nice and tight, and doesn't hinder anything as far as getting in and out of the truck. Not too bad anyways. You know, all cages are kind of a pain in the ass, but it is what it is. So I still need to get the other seat bolted in here. I haven't done that yet, but my seat is nice and secure. I got my white safety harnesses on there. You guys are wondering now about this big conglomeration right there in the middle. So that started off as just a shifter stand from Jegs. I mounted my M&M transmissions shifter to that deal. Well, it just kind of escalated from there. So as you'll notice, I don't have a factory column in here anymore. That's a Motion Raceworks column. Lightweight deal. Well, that means I don't have a key. So I have actually rewired this entire truck. There's not one stitch of factory wiring left in here anymore. So I got this Nano Pro from Fuel Tech that hooks up to the CAN system of my Fuel Tech stuff. And this little button right here is actually my starter now. So the bracket for that was made by my buddy Tyler, DTR Fab. I sent him the schematics for the mounting of that Nano Pro. He built me this little bracket and I welded it on the front of the shifter stand. That was the first thing. Well, then I got the parachute. I don't think I showed you guys that, but this is actually a bolt-on kit from Motion Raceworks. There's a bar behind the roll pan there. It bolts in with 4 half-inch bolts, between the frame rails. Very sturdy piece. I will probably go ahead and weld it once I get the bed off to do the anti-roll bar, just because. But this is a true bolt-on piece. Very, very cool. I did modify mine just a little bit for an air launcher. When I bought this thing, I actually got a Stroud 430 pilot chute parachute kit, and I will sell it now. So never been used. It has been mounted, never been deployed. It is hot pink. If you are interested, I'll sell it for less than what I got in it. So holler at me. Went ahead and went to a white safety air launcher kit, and then modified my Motion Raceworks parachute mount here to accept it. So we'll go over this here in just a little bit. So I mentioned no more factory wiring in this thing. I mean literally nothing. So I've got no light switches here. I'm going to fill these with carbon fiber because there's no AC. There's no nothing. I took all that out to try to save weight. So got a switch panel up here. The guy's name is Derek that makes these. He has a store on eBay now, and that's actually where I bought this. But all these toggle switches, like this is my marker lights, this is my headlights, this is my fog lights, and then this is my backup lights. This is my dome lights. So I'm kind of proud of the backup lights. I think they're hooked up. Yeah. So I can flip that switch, and there's lights behind my rear tire. So whoever's backing me up on the street or dark track, however you want to think about me racing, can see where they're backing me up at. I'll probably hook that up to my reverse, honestly, all said and done. But anyways, okay, back to the big conglomeration shifter stand. The parachute. There's no bars. I would much rather my parachute handle be mounted up here like the Novas are, but there's no bars up there to mount it to. So I had to do something, and that's what I came up with. Let's go over here and take a look at it. So this is also a kit from Motion Raceworks. Pretty much, I opened up the Motion Raceworks catalog, and if it fit this truck, I ordered it. So the main kit was this handle and this bracket and the parachute cable. So stock, push this forward, pulls the cable out of the parachute, it deploys. Well, if you'll notice, that handle is hidden behind my shifter. And under normal circumstances, I could probably hit that handle no problem. But if I'm having to drive this thing, if I'm out of shape, if I'm trying to use the parachute to get me back straight with wherever I'm headed, I may not be able to find that parachute handle in time. So what I did was ordered another kit from Motion Raceworks, which is their parachute handle air launcher, which is this bracket and this launcher. So what happens here is, so I've got my CO2 bottle on,
So the CO2 will, I'll run the shifter, it will run this, and run the parachute. So CO2 bottle on, it fills the line up back here to the parachute. Rock hard. So there's 700 psi of CO2 on this air launcher right now. It's trying to push out. This right here is holding it in. So we're going down the track. We just went 140 mile an hour. We need to slow down. We're on a short track. We're going to press this button right here and boom, now we're slowing down. So what's happened here now is it's pulled this cable out. This launcher, okay, it's pulled this cable out. These flaps have opened up. This launcher has propelled the parachute out into the air. It's deployed, and now we're slowing down with our TBM brakes and parachute from 140 mile an hour. I'm being very optimistic here. Actually, I honestly think that's where it'll go, but we'll see. So, anyways, pretty cool little setup. I honestly, you know, some people are going to laugh at me for having a shoot, whatever. I think they kind of look cool, to be totally honest with you, and also like, you know, they're helpful. So I got one. It was honestly, all pretty much bolt-on stuff. Besides me welding that bracket to the shifter stand, like, you could normally bolt this on pretty much anywhere. Like, that's the way Motion Raceworks makes it. I'm the one that overcomplicated and overanalyzed it. So, again, that's all bolt-on stuff you can buy from Motion Raceworks, along with these brackets here, you know, for my trans brake. So this one button right here does three things. First is my line lock, and then once I hit this button, once I'm ready to stage, so I've lit the top bulb, that's my trans brake. This is the bump button. Creep, whatever. So then also, when I'm going down the track, you know, this button's released. This button turns into my scramble button. So if old dude's out on me, I can have 10 more waiting in the computer for him. Just hold this down and tell him too soon, Junior. And then, you know, hit that again once we get to the end. Kind of touched on the Motion Raceworks column here. This is a factory replacement. It bolts in place of the factory column. It's much lighter than the factory column. It's just a piece of chromoly with a steering shaft in it. And then I also got the Motion Raceworks turn signal kit. So, you know, street truck, baby. Got my white safety harnesses there. These are comfortable. I like the new narrower straps. All right, that's gonna do it for show and tell. I know show and tell isn't near as cool as watching the actual process. I wish I had the footage. Obviously I didn't record everything I did to the truck over the last 18 months, but I had a lot of it. Like, I filmed me welding all those brackets onto that housing. I filmed welding up those traction bars from Cameron Johnson. I filmed a lot, not everything, but a lot, and I just don't have it. But I still wanted to get you all caught up on everything that's been done to the truck over the course of the last 18 months, and it's a lot, and I'm proud of it because I've, obviously with the help or advice from Sean and Monkey and Chris Bell and anyone else who would listen to me ramble about the stuff I wanted to do to the truck and then answer questions about how to do it. I appreciate all that. But again, I just wanted to get you guys caught up because there is a lot that's been done to it. I mean, pretty much everything is new from the front to the back of the truck. Besides my Texas Speed 427, it's all new. I mean, new Circle D converter, new Rossler transmission, new dynamic driveline carbon drive shaft, new rear end from Quick Performance, it's all new, like all new wheels, like I had the gold wheels on before. Now I've got the D5s from Bogart. They're 5-lug now instead of 6-lug. So, the whole front suspension is totally different. I would have much rather jumped into the action of just racing the truck, but there's cool stuff done to the truck that a lot of people will want to know about, and I'm showing it to you guys. But now I'm ready for some action, or almost anyways. Moving forward, everything I do to the truck, I will 100% have filmed, and I will not lose that footage. So, you know, my next project is going to be, I'm going to get someone over here, whether it be Sean or Aiden or Dalton or all three of them, and they're going to help me pull this bed off so that I can do my anti-roll bar. After that, it's dyno time. Not that I need to figure out how much power the motor makes, because I know. I've done it. Obviously, that turbo is going to make more power, that new Forced Induction Solutions turbo. But I know how much it's going to make. I'm only going to the dyno to dial in the new Turbo Smart E-gates. Andre's really good at tuning those, and I'm still learning what everything does on them. They're obviously a little more complicated than the old pneumatic gates, where you just put CO2 to them and then put a number in the ECU, and it does what it's supposed to. But I like these E-gates once they're set up. They do what they're told, and that's that. Like, you don't have to guess any numbers. They're just, once they're set, they're set. I think that's it, though. I really do. I don't think there's anything left on the truck that I haven't showed you guys. Like I said, moving forward, it's all action. There's not going to be any more show and tell or anything like that. It's going to be, this is what we're doing. This is how I'm going to do it. This is how I did it. But anyways, that's going to do it for this video. You know, I mentioned earlier, kind of scrambling to get ready to leave for Canada. Everything as far as the race operation is ready. We got everything loaded up yesterday, honestly. My little 6-hour stay over at Speedco really set me back as far as being able to spend some time at home, you know, get my yard mowed, go get a haircut, get a shave, just a bunch of little stuff that I really wanted to do before I left for 2 weeks. But, you know, adulting, right? It's just part of it sometimes. It is definitely frustrating, though. I'm not going to lie to y'all. Having to film this video for the second time, I almost didn't do it, but it's got to be done. It's got to be done. If I can't stay consistent with it, I can't grow it. So it had to be done. So here we are for the second time. But I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna end this video. I'm gonna get this truck back up. Gonna pull the S10 back under it. Pull the rest of the vehicles back in the shop, because it sounds like it's about to storm outside. But man, guys, the support that you guys have given me on my merch, all the shirts, all the hats, all the stickers, man, thank you so much. I've sold way more than I honestly figured I would. So for that, I'm very grateful that each and every one of you have bought something. So I don't know. I guess I'll sorry guys, I'm tired. I'm not able to talk much. Going to keep coming up with more stuff to put out there for you guys to enjoy. Videos, merch, all that stuff. So obviously you guys are a little bit interested, and it makes me want to keep doing it. So that's what I'm going to do. So until my next video, if you don't know the drill, I'm about to tell you. Share the channel, like the video, drop a comment, tell me what you'd like to see more of. Ask questions about what I got going on here. If there's something on the truck that you don't quite understand, or you want to know where I got it from, drop me a comment. I'll answer it. I'll see it. I promise I'll get back with you. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to finish packing for Canada, and I'll see you guys on my next video, which will be an update from the road to Canada, or at Canada, or whatever happens. I'll show it to you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.